Hey, what's up, Libra? Welcome back to another timeless general tarot reading. Before I get the reading started, I would just like to mention that being allowed to see the good in me allows me to see the good in all of you. Make sure you do not misimpart the truth of this message if it is not meant for you. Alright. Let us see what we can pull out here for you. Some kind of core energy. That's 2 cards. Let's get 1 clear core energy here. We're looking at the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. It may be tempting at times to cut corners when you're trying to create something. Make sure you keep your diligence intact. And make sure you do not sacrifice the quality of your creations for the sake of some other energy. It may be tempting, but the results speak for themselves. And the idea of hiding those results basically becomes a nightmare, one way or the other. So let's see how this energy evolves for you. Justice. That is going to take a bond. We're going to have to bond this energy here. I would recommend not doing shoddy behavior because that could lead you to some sort of justice not playing in your favor, even though this card is in the upright. However, it's not looking as if it's necessarily negative. It's looking more like burnout here. Don't forget to love yourself properly. Don't forget to treat yourself well. It may be difficult if people around you make that more difficult than not, but a little bit of self-care may be prudent. A little bit of self-maternity may be very, very important for you to evolve out of this shoddy or craftsmanship's energy, and that may be what's holding you back ultimately. There are times where it feels like going along to get along can quote-unquote feel better, but if everybody's going along to get along and nobody is doing the right things, then this shoddy or craftsmanship can emerge from that. And in the end, that can be very depressing. And it can be very disappointing for the group as an entirety if they cannot strive to these lengths properly. Therefore, there is a call here to definitely do some self-reflection, some retrospection, whether within you or within the others in your group here. And through that retrospection, the idea is that you need to grow beyond your limits. And you need to find the capacity to produce even further than you're used to. If everybody is afraid to step on each other's toes, the best idea is going to have trouble emerging. And that's going to lead everybody feeling very bad because they're all kind of commutatively failing here. And that's not what you want to see from this energy. But that could contribute to this lack of self-love, is that there may not be the proper leadership around to sort all this out. Very interesting. Judgment in reverse. This is very strange to have this Justice card is here, because all of the surrounding energy is not very good. So I'm going to have to clarify that to some extent. Probably using, whoops, I'm going to use a second deck to do that after I clarify its top energy here. But don't let legal victory cloud your judgment of morality. If you sell somebody a shoddy material, if you sort of underhand the product they're supposed to be sold, you may have some legal repercussions to secure that material gain on your part. But on the spiritual level, a certain internal dialogue will always know better than that, and it will always know how you underhanded those individuals. So you might be able to get away with it in the material world, but the spiritual world will always judge you for it. And there will be spiritual repercussions for treating people like this, if this is in fact what's going on here, because it's almost looking like you are shielded by legal fact, but nobody is happy or proud of themselves because they know they're cheating others, and that can make it hard to love yourself, and it will make spirit not come to your aid in this craftsmanship, which is part of why the craftsmanship is such a drudge. So that's very strange how that's emerging here. I'm going to get a clarifier on the Justice card before I bond these other energies together. Let's see, Justice, please. So Justice clarified by even the High Priestess in reverse. As I was suggesting, not listening to something better within you, listening to everything that's not so good around you. Whether it's the weakness in this group, because everybody's done it like this, you just do it as well. Whether it's listening that it's okay from others to treat people like this because the law is on your side, even though spirit highly begs to differ. And that's going to lead you to this lack of love inside of yourself. Your spirit's going to have trouble fanning the flames of your soul in this energy. So give me 1 second here. I am going to bond some of this energy. I'm getting a pretty good idea here of what's going on, but there might be something interesting I can grab from this. So real quick, I'm going to bond Eight of Pentacles reversed and Justice card. Let's see what I can get here. Okay, so bonding Eight of Swords or Eight of Pentacles reversed and Justice card is Three of Pentacles in reverse. So that's actually still kind of confusing, because it's almost like this legal repercussion is continuing this pattern of shoddy craftsmanship. And it's almost as if the legal part of this is like the crutch for this behavior. And it's not forcing this group to grow, and they keep making the same mistakes. They don't have to grow out of their weakness. And it's very disappointing energy, and it's kind of what's got them in this situation. So I'm going to keep going here. Justice. Okay, let's clarify Justice and Judgment, please. Justice and Judgment in reverse, please. Okay, so Justice, Judgment in reverse, clarified by the Eight of Swords. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And especially if just because you can leads you to anxiety. So a lot of energy here that somebody is very defensive about acting like this. And part of that is because society says that the legality is the final arbiter, but it isn't. Your soul connection is the final arbiter. Your connection with your higher source will forever and always trump any legal dilemmas, because your soul and your spirit can see beauty much further than human law ever will be able to. And if you fail to adhere to this fact, you are going to be stuck in these dastardly energies, and you're going to be posited into a place of fear, place of anxiety. You're going to constantly be having to defend your effort and defend the place you're at, and you're going to have to defend it by yourself. You're not going to have your soul at your back because it is not agreeing with you acting in this immorality. even though the Justice card is in the upright, and that signifies victory and legality. If that victory and legality breaches morality of spirit, spirit will not reward you with pleasant feelings. And that can lead to you not feeling good in your heart and soul, and it can lead to this kind of burnout here. Definitely very complacent energy. But weirdly enough, energy that is complacently continuing because of the norms of this situation. And the legal system kind of fanning the process forward. So it's very disappointing to see, because the legal system, even though it is doing its job, is burning you all out here. And it's unfortunately affording you the ability to not grow properly. And which means that your spirit is always going to be leaving you to a certain extent. It's not going to be there to give you wholesome experience as you might prefer. So, disappointing that the legality does this, but it's part of our human problem. So Empress, clarified by the Star card. Kind of interesting. Definitely a card of good outlook, but in this energy, it's unmanifested hope. Okay, so let me see if I can clarify the Empress. Empress clarified by Five of Swords reverse. Yeah, not having this love for yourself properly is going to make it hard for you to love others. And in that instance, it's going to make it difficult for them to follow you, because they don't want to put up with that kind of energy. And so there might be a habit of individuals acting in this way and losing people as a process. So maybe you lose customers, maybe it's one and done with people who are your clients. And in that instance, your process for longevity is tainted, and this continued reinforcement of energy of your failure, even if reinforced by legality, should be diminishing your hope a little more than this. So I'm curious what this is all about. Can you please expand the Star card? Expansion on the Star, please. So expanding the Star, we have the Knight of Pentacles. Kind of an interesting turnaround to the energy here. Maybe a sign that people understand that they want to do something better than this. It's going to take some diligence to do that properly, for sure. It's going to take a little bit more clarification, though. So here we have the Star card, or clarifier for the Star card. Four of Wands in reverse. This is going to take some further clarification for sure, because a lot of hope is failing here. Even though it's present, it is not stabilizing the situation. It is that's actually very strange energy. Six of Swords in reverse as well. So that continues this idea of failing to move forward properly. Failure to things, maybe about anxiety about changing. I'm actually going to see what I can get for this. I'm almost feeling the Star is going to need it. The Star is at least going to need two. So let me do a shuffle real quick. Queen of Wands on the bottom of the deck. That crap's always on the bottom of the deck for some reason on this deck. Very interesting. I'm constantly finding the Queen of Wands on the bottom of this deck. For whatever reason that is. I don't know. Alrighty, so let's bond the Empress reverse and the Star card, because I'm very curious why that is emerging for that. I would imagine it being in the reverse, so it's like there's optimism here, but it's all panning out in reality much less of a degree than the optimism would expect it to. And that sucks, for sure. It's not what you hope and dream, so it doesn't come true. Alright, so can I get an energy for the Empress Reverse Star, please? Alright, so we've got, wow. 4 of Wands reversed again. This star card is like bleeding out the energy of not having this hope that you're desiring of this stability. It's a double reinforcement of that lack of stability. I'm going to bond it even further on the top here. Wheel of Fortune reverse. I don't know what this hope is all about, but it is... Fate's not there to grant it for you. Which is why you're not getting any 4 of Wands stability. And the shoddy energy leading up to this point, it's like... As I was suggesting, the universe doesn't want to help you out with this because this energy is... in such a negative state. Fate isn't interested in empowering you to this hope that you're desiring. Jeez. So I'm going to do one more here, and that's going to be 4 of Wands reversed to 6 of Wands. Just for some curiosity. A lot of this is coming down to, you gotta be more, you can't let this legal, the law is not better than, and look at that, as soon as I started to talk about that, I got justice on the bottom again. The law is not a greater moral arbiter than spirit itself. Just because you can do something through the law does not mean it's the right thing to do. Just because you can do something for the law does not mean there will not be karmic repercussions. And what I'm seeing here is a lot of karmic repercussions for individuals who are using the law to get away with something illicit in their productive capacity. And due to that fact, karma is not delivering them their internal stability and their hopes. It's very clear here. So if these people think they can be shoddy because everybody says it's okay, they need to try something else. They need to try a different approach. Because the energy is not going to be... The spirit's not on board with this behavior, is the bottom line here. And there's signs here to embrace a much different intuitive capacity to figure that out. And unfortunately, these actions might be protected by legal barriers, which would make it even more difficult, sort of, to claim that spirit has something to say in the matter, but I don't know. It depends on your situation and how spiritually in tune you are, or if you even believe in that sort of thing. So let me try one more time here to get something for the 4 of Wands reversed, 6 of Wands reversed. That makes sense why it wouldn't work in that regard, but... Okay, so... Oh, now that was 2 cards. You get 1 card, please. One clear bond here, or are we going to call it? Alright, I guess it doesn't really feel like it. Alright. I guess that one's pretty straightforward. The Knight of Pentacles energy, the diligence of energy is very interesting because in the upright, the energy would almost surmise an ability to move forward, but it's very strange how this diligence is... There might be a core of this diligence in this process. If these individuals can achieve something, even though it's kind of this weird nature, there's this half a sign here that they do have the diligence to make the difference in a better fashion. But it's very interesting because that one's very interesting as well. I might have to come back to that one. I'm not exactly sure what that's doing there. So let's go back to the other side of the energy here and Going to expand the Judgment card in reverse. Death in reverse. Whoa. More towards what I was suggesting. Very resistant to changing whatever this is. And if you are kind of absconded in the law system, you might have natural resistance because of how you rely on the law. If you very exclusively rely on it. So that's very interesting. Because that just goes to reinforce my suggestion that there is definitely a call here for a different type of behavior. And whoa. Yep, elusive capacity. Oh, and I just realized we're in a Libra reading, so Justice card is your card, by the way. In that regard. Very interesting. There's definitely illusion involved here. There is an inability to see something more obvious, something more real, even though there are other things interfering with that quality. And that goes back to what I was suggesting, that both with this high priestess in reverse and the judgment in reverse, those both lead to illusion. Those both insinuate illusory nature. So, not surprised to see that card there, clarifying those two things. The problem is that, once again, something that seems obvious is not so true. It seems true to an extent, but it's lacking the beauty of higher wisdom, which is why Spirit is not going to come to your aid on this. And it's why Spirit is throwing all this negative energy out here. Because it's not... there's something is drastically missing here, and I don't know if it's literally a law thing or not, but that's really what's picking... That's usually what gives this energy. That or somehow, like, receiving the benefits of good karma even though it's not deserved or something weird. That's even weirder for me to speculate, though, to be honest with you. So let's get this final clarifier on the Death card. And final clarifier on Death reversed, we've got Ten of Pentacles. So that's the last thing I expected for that. But there's a good shot that if you succeed with the law like this, you have plenty of material abundance. So maybe the reason that you're failing to change is because it's greasing your own personal tires. And maybe that's part of what's keeping you in the illusion about this, is that you're making this money. And you're finding this stability from this process. But a lot of people who do a lot of bad stuff have lots of money. Having a lot of money isn't what makes isn't really what... It's not the final arbiter of morality. Even though it makes a difference, the methods of receiving that money also make a difference in Spirit's eye. So what I'm seeing here, once again, is there's a ton of material, there's a bunch of material momentum, there's a bunch of material validation for doing these certain behaviors, and you may be able to get away with it in the human realm, but you're never going to be able to get away with it in the realm of Spirit. Because Spirit can see everything that you're doing, within and without you. And it's keeping score. That's why it's not giving you these blessings over here. That's why your hope is going unrewarded. That's why you're not finding this personal type of stability, because fate can't reward someone who betrays it like this for material principles. Very interesting for sure. I think that might be it for this reading. I'm going to do one more final clarifier here, I think, for the Knight of Pentacles and the Six of Swords. I'm really confused about that energy. So let me see here. Let me see what I can get to bond these together. So Knight of Pentacles, Six of Swords reversed, High Priestess. Okay, so not what I was expecting. Very strange. It's almost like listening to yourself gets you stunted. That's understandable, though, if you have this good thing going, using the law, and then you try to throw the law away. That might be good for you, listening to yourself, but it's going to hamper your progress in certain ways if you try to achieve things in the same way. But it's still a little interesting that the High Priestess shows up here, because the High Priestess is about listening to something that yourself knows better than the things around you know. Instead of listening to social convention, it's about doing the right thing as far as you can tell, but because that is the right thing to do, not just because you think so. It's like, it is about doing the right thing. It is about listening to your soul. But for some reason, listening to your soul staggers your forward momentum as well, despite this Knight of Pentacles diligence here. So it's almost like one step forward in spirit, but one step back in material, which is kind of the price you... It's sort of suggesting that this is part of the price you pay for finally embracing this. Is it has to batter... It's changing course, so, you know, all the momentums are going to be shifting. Still. A little strange. But the Six of Swords is very strange here. Let me see. Can I get the Four of Wands reverse and Six of Swords reverse bonded, please? Okay, so how about the Star and the Knight of Pentacles? Anything for the Star and Knight of Pentacles bonding? Alright, so nothing wants to come out for these, to be honest with you. It looks like its point is made here. I'm a little confused though on why the Knight of Pentacles is there, to be completely honest. Throwing me for a loop, so I'm going to try and see if I can get a couple more things. I'm trying to rip something out here, but the High Priestess, it's just, unfortunately, it's almost karmatic. It's just a sign that you've got to dig yourself out of a hole, so to speak. Like, you've got all of this momentum going. Therefore, if you really did try to, like, bust out of it in a different fashion, you're going to be running up against all of the other momentum that's been built up in this situation. And even though you might, and so it might cause some issues off the get-go is really what I'm feeling. That's the best I've got for that, really. So let me give this one more shot. Okay, so can we please bond the Four of Wands reverse, Six of Swords? Oops. Okay, so that dropped out 2, but I'm only looking for 1 card, please. Okay, so here is something. King of Pentacles. Very weird. Once again, extremely strange. Very grounded energy. Somebody looking at you from the outside, perhaps, who is disappointed in this process. Somebody who's trying to test your gumption. The energy would be very resistant. Or it shouldn't be, but this should be a very diligent energy. It's kind of like a lot of second guessing. Surrounded by these reverse energies. So maybe somebody who wants to see you do better, but they've got to see the behavior first or something like that. I'm not sure. That's kind of leaving me a little bit more confused than I started. So I'm going to get one more of these, and then it's going to create a tripler on the star. So I'll be able to use my anime deck to do a final card, but Ace of Swords. So, stabilization of form. That is about stabilizing your dreams, so to speak. It's about taking a new initiative on a different type of stabilized ground. It's what you would have to do if you actually want to meet this desire of yours. If you actually want to feel the star card, the hope of the star card properly, and play it out, you're going to have to stabilize this energy differently. And you're going to need to utilize the diligence of the Knight of Pentacles and your own internal capacity to start getting to that point. It's just disappointing here because it doesn't look like you are going to be, it's not going to just happen overnight. It looks like the energies, it looks like there's just there's going to be some built up resistance in the way here. But it's clear, the message is clear. It's, if you actually want to reach this hope, you've got to stabilize this new approach. And this action you take has to be grounded very well. And it has to be slow but steady. It's just very disappointing with this other energy. So let's get okay, so star, I'm kind of wondering how I should do this. I've got all these clarifiers on this side. I'm just going to do one big clarifier for this part of it. So, Great Goddess, can we get the final clarifying card, please? One final clarifying card for this read, which is at 32 freaking minutes, so I'm sorry that it took so long. I'm sorry that I'm not finding it a little bit more clear here despite the clarifying card. Some of this is definitely a little confusing, even for me, so I hope it's resonating with somebody, because it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. This side makes more sense, but I'm not sure where a lot of this over here is going. Which is why I'm looking for this final clarifier here. Looks like we've got one, so... Oh, it looks like it's 2 cards, actually. Okay, so final clarifier for the reading. Oh wait, there's another one. Okay, so can I get one clear clarifier, please? Yep, it doesn't really want to clarify. So how about clarifying the star first? Or how about clarifying the star then? Yeah, you would rather feel like this. You would rather find your own success here and allow that to embolden your hope and to empower your hope and your outlook. This energy, though, is going to, and you might even be able to have this exemplar show up, but this momentum of whatever this past energy was is going to be very difficult to reach like this. Even though there's some signs here of how to get there. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some diligence. You're definitely going to have to stabilize your process. And you're going to have to embrace what you know is true more than what conventions around you may suggest is true. And there's a good shot when you do that, it might blunt some of your opportunity. But that's part of what's going to have to happen here with this energy. Because fate cannot deliver you the stability you're looking for when it's not on board with your methods. So the Nine of Pentacles coming out, It's almost a sign that your money over here is falsely empowering what you think you deserve. And it's almost providing a shield against you having to hear the criticism necessary to make this spiritual change. Which is very strange, because usually the Nine of Pentacles is a great card. It's usually a card that signifies that you have the success to not have to listen to the haters, because because your material success speaks for itself. The problem is, even though you have the material success that gives you that shield, it's shielding some toxicity. And that's very disappointing. Alright, so I feel like you kind of understand what's going on here. I could draw another card, but I guess I can try to draw one more. I never had this cross show up, so I'm gonna see if I can clarify this cross. So one more clarifier, please, for this cross. This King of Pentacles is also very confusing to me. They're gonna have a hard time helping you as well. They're gonna have to. A legitimate King of Pentacles is like a legitimate King of Pentacles probably doesn't want to reinforce this behavior. So the last card we have, oh, we actually have two cards there. This one flipped out though. So the last card I'm going to pull out for this reading is the Queen of Cups. That's somebody who could match this star energy with their ability to feel the process out better. Typically somebody with this emotional capacity could embrace their inner feelings better. And in the upright, they have that stabilized to a certain degree. It wouldn't be a bad start for rectifying this situation. Especially if they're paired with a King of Pentacles. Still, though, to be completely honest, I'm still a little miffed on this part. This part of the reading is confusing. This Knight of Pentacles is confusing me. Their diligence is, like, missing something. And it just strikes me as similar energy to this other process over here. So, I don't know what else to say for that. I'm going to leave it at that. Really confusing left side of the reading for me to interpret, outside of the fact that for the most part it's just that your hope and your desires are not being delivered properly, and the result of that is because of this behavior over here, and this unwillingness to be different about all of this. Even though it's giving you a certain form of success, and that certain form of success is reinforcing your energy in your process, outside of the material success, there's a huge lack of spiritual stability. That's playing out in the cards here. And getting over that is going to take a completely different approach, a completely different diligence, a completely different stabilization of your internal world. And even then, it may not just happen overnight, because it may require you to leave some things behind that used to serve you, and that could make the process of growth even more difficult. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Running low on my time here, so. Alright, Libra, I'm gonna have to cut this video. I can't speculate anything further. I hope this really meant something to someone. I hope you can hear the words I'm saying about why you don't feel proper. if you want to feel proper, it's going to come down to understanding why Spirit is not completely on board with this type of behavior, even though our material world is providing you this opportunity and is rewarding you for it. So, excuse me. Thank you very much, Libra, for being here. Take care and good luck.